Okay, that should be better. Hello, it has been such a long time. By that I mean like a month. It feels like months. It feels like years. Hopefully nothing breaks. Knock on wood. Maybe I just jinxed it for myself, but hopefully all goes well. Alrighty, so what I had kind of planned was I wanted to show off my process, my little steps and paths that I take for illustration. Illustration specifically, not animation. That's way too long and involves too much crying. Incomprehensible crying. And I don't think that's fun for either of us. So I'm going to be showing off a very quick look into how I plan out my illustrations. The way I'm going to do that is by drawing candies. Don't worry about that picture. So starting off for illustration, one of the general rules that I found out was to leave your background color 0 saturation at 50%. So you get this neutral gray color. Gray is spelled with an A in America and E in England. I learned that fact in like 3rd grade and it has not gotten off of my brain. So what this does is leaving the background gray helps you visualize the colors that you're going to use and understand color theory a little bit better. Not really. I'm actually very hypocritical. I take back what I said. Leaving the colors neutral like this will help you I don't know. It helps you with your colors. That's all I know. If you draw on a white background, it makes things seem a lot brighter than it is. You draw on a black background, it makes everything darker than it seems. You have to take that in context of the environment it is in. And one of those ways that you can improve your colors is by having a neutral tone, so you're focused solely on the colors. Is that a lie? Maybe, but I got it off the internet, so. Also, disclaimer, I have had no professional art training except for YouTube tutorials and looking at twitter.com 7 hours per day. I've got my art degree from twitter.com. I don't think that's good. But starting off, yeah, we're drawing a little Jolly Rancher. Starting off, you want to leave your background neutral color without any saturation. Typically, this is what I like to do. However, making your background a certain color or certain lightness, darkness will overall affect the end result of the illustration that you're doing. So starting off, again, neutral background, and then I take my handy dandy airbrush tool that I love so much, and this is my sketching stage. This is where I take actually the most time and thought into it, because based off the sketches, it's just rendering. After that, it's just applying the colors, slapping them, making them look pretty. But at the sketching phase, you want to make sure that you're thinking of all those principles of illustration that I don't know off the tip of my head, top of my head. I just do with things that look pretty. So like having a complex versus complicated silhouette, or thinking about the overall composition, I always center my compositions because I love that. So do a whole painting night mode on. All the colors are off during the day. I have done that before. It hurts my soul a little bit. But there's nothing that color correction can't help you with. So I'm just gonna do a very... That's the shape of a Jolly Rancher, right? That looks pretty Jolly Rancher-y. And I'm gonna make it dramatic. Ta-da! Once I have that, I have my little concept or idea that I want to do. I take that sucker down and I lower the opacity so hard. And then here comes the fun part. Not fun part. Fun, but sarcastic. Color picking. I abhor this. Is that the right word? I don't know if that's the right word. I am a native English speaker, but I still don't understand it nor respect the language, so. That's a Jolly Rancher shape. I can afford to be a little bit messy in this stage because I want to and I say I can, so my word is law. Turn the music down a little bit. What else do we have? We have blue, we have some white going on around here, the clear reflection off of the plastic wrapper. And then we have some yellow. Ooh, that is too light of a yellow. I don't have enough knowledge on color theory to be explaining or doing anything. Computer is giving me flashing lights. That's future me's problem. Not current me. Current me is drawing a Jolly Rancher. So the yellow we actually have is a pretty gross yellow, if I do say. It's like a bright yellow, almost like that. No, that's too orangey. That's the gross yellow we want. I'm sure this is good for like marketing. Bright, ugly colors, recognizable from like everywhere. I don't exactly like it. So I'm gonna actually put a little dash of other colors. It's just like cooking. You just put stuff in and you stop when you feel like stopping. Ta-da! That's pretty good. So right now, it looks so messy. I have a very rough sketch with an even rougher colors picked out. If I didn't like the colors I picked out, I could just go a little fun with it. But once I pick what I want the illustration to ultimately look like, I just render everything on a separate layer. And copy and paste. So let's see, I know Jolly Ranchers are like this. However, that's pretty ugly looking. I want to make it look a little more appetizing. And I think the way I'm going to do that is through my knowledge, my intense knowledge of jellos. Jellos are really, really cool because they reflect within side of each other. It makes it very saturated and pretty. Oh, I use Shan Week paintings too? Thank you! That stressed me out so much, but I'm so glad it turned out so cool. I still freaking love Pacific Rim. That was one of my paintings. Gorgeous. I love it. Here's also the stage where I add in texture. The texture we want for this isn't rough. It's more liquidy, like Jello. Maybe this will be cool. I just pick and choose. Huh. I don't think I should have picked and choose. That was not a good choice. This is my favorite one to do, actually, because it adds a little bit of texture with some hue variation. This brush, I don't exactly know what it is. It's really good for making leaves, though. And what I know from Jello, rendering Jellos and stuff like that, is that it's weird and funky and weird, and it reflects onto itself on the inside in weird ways. So I do this and actually just blur it out a little bit. That looks pretty cool. Oops. I might actually want to darken it a little bit more. Yes, I do like this one. That looks like a very Jolly Rancher. Whoops. Well, I mean, that was kind of cool. What brush is this on? Oh, my favorite airbrush. I love the airbrush. It doesn't mess around with the line weight. There's another principle that is terrible to learn. The more and more I talk, the more and more I sound like I'm discouraging anyone from doing art. Just because I cry over it doesn't mean you can. I mean, you can if you want. Do whatever. There's my godly divinity. That looks pretty cool. One trick I like is making it so tiny. That looks pretty cool. Now we're back to normal size. I'm hoping this is a big, I should not make this promise, but I am hoping that relatively soon I can get back into regularly streaming, and by that I mean streaming sometimes when I can. That's streaming regularly for me. I can't say that word, regularly. Regularly. There's too many L's there. Artist, not a car salesperson. Exactly. I would be making no money as a car salesperson. They would fire me on spot. I'd be so bad at pitching sales that they'd just fire me. Be like, you can't fire me. You're trying to buy the car. And they just fire me, and I'll be like, okay. One other thing I like to use is the line selection tool. It lets me make those quick, easy, straight lines all over my work, which is very nice, and also lets me control where I'm working at. which area I am working at. That's so obnoxious looking yellow. Do not like that at all. I always stick to my airbrush. Always, always. Unless I'm trying to incorporate textures or different color hues, it's almost always going to stay and be stuck on airbrush. It's my favorite. I'm just gonna make some little random lines here to show maybe there's some crinkles in the paper. Smaller lines, bigger lines. This is already looking pretty good. I'm gonna do the cheeky way. And just copy and paste because I cannot be bothered. I'm a very, very lazy person. And pro tip, you just warp it a little bit and it looks totally different from what you originally started. Ta-da! And also erase some parts to make it look like you made another custom and everything is hand illustrated. Ta-da! I don't actually like that. Why does Jolly Rancher have the most obnoxious color scheme? They had to go into like the psychology of colors and color theory and marketing, and they chose blue and yellow, two very contrasting colors. Doesn't make me think of Jolly Ranchers, it makes me think of sardines. That's pretty good. Now, since I've got it sort of rendered, I don't need this background color anymore. Nor do I need really this layer at all. Those are just for something. It's for when I'm starting out. To mess around with, to play around with. There might be some time in the future where I realize, oh, actually, the composition of this Jolly Rancher sucks, and I actually wanted it more dynamic. And that's how I can mess around with it. But for now, I just have a head-on centered piece, which I'm sure, like, I can hear ancient Italian Renaissance painters yelling at me already, but they're not alive and I am, so I'm making a centerpiece. I'm just cleaning up these little lines here. Because the one thing I forgot is that they twist. They don't just come out of the packaging. So they're more like this. Yeah. Perfecto. Очень красиво. Hen hao. I think that's very good in Mandarin. Hen hao. I don't know the tones. The other day I learned I was tone deaf. Not like in terms of my speaking manners, but in terms of lyrical tones. It's very hard for me to understand music, which makes sense why I failed my middle school band class. Take that, Mr. Davidson. Ta-da! Okay. I keep messing around. And by messing around, I mean I keep avoiding the fact that I have to make a shiny plastic wrap over this. This does not seem... yeah, it's not stabilized. I'm a very shaky person. I cannot work without stabilizers. So the nature of plastic is that it's a lot of rough shapes in random places. The most useful art tip that I know to give is to study fabric and drapery. Ooh. From all types of cloth, to velvet, to thicker fabric, to plastic. Is very useful for a number of reasons. And one of them is for making the plastic wrap on a Jolly Rancher, which comes very unuseful. For me only. It's coming together. The candy. Oh, by the way, Onyx, if you have any other candies that you want me to draw, I am completely down for it. Today, I am a candy drawing machine. The Cookie Monster, in fact. It won't... Whoa, I just restarted there. It won't be as nearly as detailed as the one I'm doing right now. It'll probably be a quicker one. A quick candy rendering, if you will. Candy eating machine, that's true. Also, fabric has a lot of triangles, and so does everything else in life. Triangles are actually one of the strongest shapes. Is it? Wait a second. No, I don't think it is. I think I'm lying. I think I'm a liar. I think it's an octagon, in fact. Maybe. Bees make octagons. Either case, there's some shape out here that's the strongest. Where am I? What am I doing? Drawing more triangles. This is another reason why I like the airbrush tool, is that I can, based off of the pressure on the pen, it changes opacity instead of width. which I like, because I get into the issue of if, based off pen pressure, if it changes the width of it or the sizing of it, then it looks messy. But instead, if it's changes opacity, then it should be all good. For me, at least. Sorry, I have like 3 different things on my mind. I think it's a triangle. Oh yeah, hexagons are for space efficiency. Efficient space. These actually make cylinders that are packed so tightly they form into hexagons instead. Yeah, I think that's where I got mixed up. That hexagons are the most space efficient ones, and triangles are the most strongest one, because the direct, from my construction class, from what I remember, the direct area of load on a joint, if you follow that force vector, it goes directly to another side, the strongest part, which is very, very cool. This is getting too spiderwebby. I think it's still turning into a spiderweb. No! I can fix it later. That's okay. Ta-da! See, it looks really messy up close. Like, look at that. This looks just like markers. Then you go smaller and smaller, and you're like, yep, I can see that. I can see how it could be identified as a Jolly Rancher. So there we have our lines. But now I'm gonna go back to my favorite tool ever. Make these little lines. I'm gonna cut out sections of the plastic wrap because light reflects off of plastic, especially plastic wrap. So to make those highlights and make it a little more dimensional, I'm gonna add just the tiniest bit of shading. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna bump down the opacity just a little bit. My favorite little detail of all is adding a super bright bling, little shine right there. Ding, 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 ding. Look how beautiful it looks. Also, I'm gonna add, not that, I'm gonna add some sections and thicken up the lines right here, just so it looks like on the edges, the plastic wrapping is not vacuum sealed to the Jolly Rancher. It's actually a little bit, it's around it, it's wrapping it. So if I add these lines here, it helps make it look like it's not just sucked on top of it. I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna clean up these little edges here. And when I'm choosing a darker color for a lot of my art, I don't like to pick a new color and try to figure out on this color wheel and try to figure out the harmonies and the values and the palettes. I just like the color pick from the other image, another side of the image. And that helps the colors be cohesive. At least I think it does. I think I need a little bit of a lighter color here. Like here. I've been watching the new superhero show, Invincible. This is such a good show. Very, very interesting. It makes me want to go back into my superhero phase. There's a time when I was 12 where I exclusively only drew Scarlet Witch, American Chavez, and Storm. I only drew those three. This looks pretty cool. Also, I found when I do art, what helps me is not to over render things. Don't make everything detailed and highlighting. I say that, but I'm like the worst at remembering that. Oops, just a little bit higher. I like using this color square because it's like a graph. I understand graphs. I don't understand wheels. Yeah, I'm calling out you specifically, Abotics. When I say over-render, the first thing that comes into my mind is you. I say this jokingly. That's pretty good. I haven't really colored this in all too well. I want to turn this into a video to upload on my YouTube, but I don't think I'll ever get to that because I am way too busy. Last week, I was like, I don't have many art projects. This week, I'm like, oh shit. I'm a liar. I'm in fact lying. I lied to everyone and especially myself, apparently. But don't worry. I have Zelda and Chill to help me through it. But I also have, I got a pseudo internship, and then I also have summer classes that I'm doing, and then I also have a lot of art stuff, and then I also have, I'm gonna be moving. I think I can do it. I'm very confident. I think I can do it. So, you will be hearing more from me. By force. Oh, I used two different ways of coloring in the shadows. I used the line selection tool here and hand drawn here. I like the hand drawn a little bit better. Feels more natural. I'm gonna replicate that real quick. The problem is, when I stream, I don't have many thoughts. I feel like I don't have many thoughts. You should see my Twitter drafts. Those are full of thoughts that I cannot release to the general public. But when I stream, I'm like, no thoughts. Where's my presentation notes? Where's my PowerPoint slide? I swear I made one. That's pretty good. Now the only thing to do is the logo. Oh god. I don't understand anything about typography. Jolly. Dear golly, it's a jolly rancher. The only things I know about typography is that sometimes I can read them. I can read the letters. But that's all I've got going for me. And even then, it's a struggle. Then there's a darker blue around it. This will look horrifying, so don't worry. I have no plans to change it from the horrifying text that I put up on it. Like a horrifying hex. But instead it's a horrifying text. Every graphic designer's most hated. This is actually very relaxing, like a little color in the lines thing. That does not look like the Jolly Rancher logo at all. here's my secret. I don't care. I mean, I care a little bit, but for the most part, I don't. Spills out hard. Candy. Ta-da! Whenever I want to play around with an idea, like erasing or changing something, I always make a duplicate of the layer so I can revert back if need be. That's pretty good. Actually, no, it's not. This is pretty good. That looks like a good Jolly Rancher. I'm gonna add just a teensy little highlights because I love making sparkly little highlights. Boom. Never mind, I don't. I lied. Now that I've done that, I have what I want. I usually collapse it all into one layer. So now I have this little Jolly Rancher here. I go back and I do everything else, which includes the background, the highlights, the final look through, basically. This is supposed to be the drop shadow. I don't know how well it works. If I can't make it look pretty through my artistic knowledge and skill, then I just overlay it with textures and hope that looks cool. Like this little shadow. Ta-da. I do like this. I approve of this. Very much so. Also, my stream is delayed like hella. What the heck? I'm gonna have to let it play out for like 20 minutes. So since I've done that, then I go back and I do all the little details that make it fun. And apply my extensive knowledge, this is sarcasm, of color theory. This is my knowledge. My knowledge says I hate it. Let's go with this color. What was it? Ta-da! You. What if I do this? Yes. Ta-da! A handy dandy texture, shadow, I don't know. I give up. I'm not gonna put it in a 3D space. This just looks cute on a cool background. Ta-da! It's the Jolly Rancher. The Rancher of the Jolly. Handy dandy airbrush, and then I write my signature, which I actually have a brush for that. Under drawing, painting, under sketching, nope, under inking, is punk, so that it's the same every time. Whoops. As long as I don't distort it. And then I lower the opacity so nobody else can see. Ta-da! Then I screenshot it. And then I post it. Done. Save to photos. That's basically my project. Not my project, my process. That is my process for illustration. No crying involved, but only this time because it was just a little candy I drew. I'm gonna move away my Pinterest reference. Thank you, Pinterest, for your endless references and constant stolen art. Over here, some of these are secret projects, and I take that process and then I use it on something like this. You can see same process I use where I fill in the blobs and the line art. I do the line art and then I fill in the blobs and I clean up the blobs and then I work on top of the blobs. Like, look at this. This is all just one layer. Look how cool this strap is. Look at that buckle. I made that buckle. Very, very cool. Oh. Wait. Oh, interesting. I don't know if my voice is going at the same time as what it's showing, but I think the actual thing for my art program to display onto stream is delayed, not my actual stream, which is interesting. So I don't know if this matches up with my voice at all, because right now I'm looking at an entirely different art project with a cool dude with a purple sword, but then I look onto my stream and also OBS and it's 5 million minutes behind and I'm still drawing the Jolly Rancher logo. Don't see it up. This is very interesting. Maybe if I just do this. I swear every time, no matter how much I try, there's some sort of scuffed. Yeah, it's like 5 minutes. I think I have to close this down. Because being so incredibly rude. Yeah, so my voice isn't even showing up on time to what I'm saying. That's very, very weird. Yeah, let me reconnect here so I can show off the cool buckle. Maybe it is working now, perhaps. This is so funny. Yeah, it is delayed. That's so weird. My actual art program to display is delayed. How weird is that? Anyway, since apparently the screen froze, here's the Jolly Rancher. Looks very delicious. Очень вкусно. I'll look at that and I'll be like, yeah, that's definitely an illustration of a blue raspberry Jolly Rancher. Go over here. I show the buckle. With that entire process, I apply over and over again to whatever I'm drawing. And right now, I'm drawing this dude. This streamer-nade punk. He's hilarious. I love watching him. I'm not sure if my mic is picking it up, but I have my window open because it is hot. Hot, 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 hot. Right here. Hot in Topeka. And there's turkeys outside. So I apologize if you hear the gobbling. Yeah, and I apply the process to this dude. Who has a buckle. A buckle. A buckle. Very cool. There's still more that I have to render. Like the cloth and the background here, all of this, and some of this. Basically the only rendered parts are this buckle here, fully rendered. It's this strap, and this guy's face. With a balaclava, not a baklava, that is a dessert. Balaclava. Ta-da! I'm gonna be working on him tonight. I'm gonna try to speed run him and get as much as I can get done as soon as possible. Because I signed up for too much. I bit off more than I can chew in terms of art. So I have to spend an all-nighter chewing all the things that I bit off. That's a short 1 hour stream. I hope you enjoyed hearing about my process and how I do things and how I don't cry all the time. And Abotics, I appreciate you so much for staying around and talking with me. I appreciate it. But for now, I'm gonna head off and get work done. So, thank you all for stopping by, and I hope you have a great evening, a great night, a great afternoon, great mid-morning, wherever you may be. Bye!